श्रीपाद श्रीवल्लभत्वं सदैव श्रीदत्तास्मान् पाहि देवाधिदेव भावग्राह्य क्लेशहारिं सुकीर्ते घोरात् कष्टात् उद्धरास्मान् नमस्ते। त्वं नो माता त्वं पिता प्तोऽधिपस्त्वं त्राता योग क्षेमकृत् सद्गुरुस्त्वं त्वं सर्वस्वं नो प्रभो विश्वमूर्ते घोरात् कष्टात् उद्धरास्मान् नमस्ते। पापं तापं व्याधिमादिं च दैन्यं भीतिं क्लेशं त्वं हराशुत्वदन्यम् त्रातारन्नो वीक्ष ईशास्त्रजूर्ते घोरात् कष्टात् उद्धरास्मान् नमस्ते। नान्यस्त्राता न पिता न भर्ता त्वत्तो देव त्वं शरण्योकहर्ता कुर्वात्रेयानुग्रहं पूर्णराते घोरात् कष्टात् उद्धरास्मान् नमस्ते। धर्मे प्रीतिं सन्मतिं देवभक्तिं सत्सङ्गाप्तिं देहि भुक्तिं च मुक्तिं भावासक्तिं चाखिलानन्दमूर्ते घोरात् कष्टात् उद्धरास्मान् नमस्ते। श्लोकपञ्चकमेतद्यो लोकमङ्गलवर्धनम् प्रपठेन्नियतो भक्त्या श्रीदत्तप्रियो भवेत् श्रीदत्तप्रियो भवेत् श्रीदत्तप्रियो भवेत् श्रीदत्तप्रियो भवेत्। श्रीपादराजं शरणं प्रपद्ये। श्रीपाद श्रीवल्लभ चरितामृतम् Chapter 10 Description of the Forms of Narasimha Swami. I took the permission of Tirumala Dasa and continued my travel towards Kuravapuram. As I was recollecting the divine place of Sripada, a tingling thrill of horripilation overtook my body. On the way, I saw a holy Audumbara tree at a distance. That was midday. I was very hungry. I had to collect alms from a Brahmin village if it was nearby. I thought that I could take rest from the travel fatigue under the holy Audumbara tree. I noticed that someone was resting under the shade of the Audumbara tree. As I went further, I could see that the person was wearing a holy thread. I came nearer to the Audumbara tree. That stranger cordially invited me and asked me to sit down. Compassion was oozing from his eyes. There was a basket before him. There was no foodstuff in that. Only a copper vessel was there. He was chanting the name of Sripada Vallabha frequently. I questioned him with eagerness. Sir, are you a devotee of the divine feet of Sripada? Have you seen that great holy person? Then he spoke thus. Sir, I was born in a noble Vaishya family. My name is Subbayya Sreshti. I lost my parents in my childhood. There were abundant heaps of money in my house. I was going to distant places and conducting many varieties of sales and purchases. I was frequently going to Kanchipuram. I developed intimacy with a prostitute by name Chintamani of that town. I spent lot of money lavishly. A Brahmin by name Bilvamangala of Palakadu town in Kerala was also visiting Kanchipuram for purposes of trade. He was selling fragrant materials to Arabs in exchange for diamonds and horses. Sometimes both of us used to do joint trading activities. Kings and emperors were buying horses of high breed from us. Due to ill luck, both of us had fallen down from virtue due to our contact with the prostitute. For some time, the purchase and sale transactions of both of us with Arab people went on encouragingly. Afterwards, they took lot of money from us, and instead of giving good horses, they handed us horses of very inferior quality. We lost heavily in the business. With the losses in business, our properties were also lost. My wife died with mental anguish. I had a son who was mentally unstable. He also met with untimely death. My boy, Shri Pitikapuram, which is having Padagaya Tirtha, which can be called as the best one among Tirthas, was my native place. On account of my ignorance, I was insulting deities and Brahmins. I was adopting cruel methods to collect repayment of loans. Once, large number of relatives came from Ainavilli village to Appalaraja Sharma's house. Shri Appalaraja did not have sufficient money to arrange boarding and other facilities to all of them. If approached, Shri Sreshti would provide all the materials free of cost, as Shri Sharma was their family priest. Then it would become a donation, but Shri Appalaraja Sharma would not accept any donation. Under unavoidable circumstances, he took articles costing 1 varaha from my shop on credit. After the departure of relatives, I harassed Raja Sharma to repay the debt. Raja Sharma replied that he did not have any money with him and that he would definitely clear the debt as soon as money was available. I am an expert in collecting compound interest. Time was passing by. I added interest to interest and prepared bogus calculations. I demanded that Sharma should pay me 10 varahas in settlement of the dues. Raja Sharma should sell away his house if he had to pay that much amount. According to the rates prevailing at that time, I could take over his house and pay 1 or 2 varahas in full satisfaction of the sale price. I was telling this before all people. My resolve was to expropriate Raja Sharma out of his house. Painda Venkatappaya Sreshti, who noticed my ill intention, said, You wicked fellow! You are prattling as you like, blinded by the arrogance of riches. When you insult our revered family priest, it tantamounts to dishonoring us. Unless you change your ways, you will be put to heavy loss. By harassing Raja Sharma, who is more pious than a blazing fire, you will fall into Raurava, a type of hell, and other kinds of hell. Once Sripada was at the house of Painda Venkatappaya Sreshti. I jeeringly said to Sreshti, if Raja Sharma could not repay my debt, he can send one of his sons to serve in my shop, or he can himself serve there. One son is blind, the second one is lame, and the third one, Sripada, is aged 3 years. Then how can my debt be cleared? Shri Painda Venkatappaya Sreshti was very much hurt. Tears were flowing from his eyes like a torrent. Sripada wiped those tears with his divine hands. He said, Grandfather, why fear when I am here? I am the one who killed Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu. Will it be difficult for me to redeem the debt of Subbayya? Sripada looked towards me and said, I clear your debt. Come on, let us go to your shop. I serve in your shop and wipe out the debt due to you. After the clearance of the debt, Goddess Lakshmi will not reside in your house. Think carefully. Blinded by pride and very cruel by nature, I agreed to the proposal. Painda Venkatappaya Sreshti carried Sripada on his shoulders and brought him to my shop and said, Subbayya, I will work in your shop in the place of Sripada. Do you agree? I agreed to it. In the meanwhile, an ascetic with coiled hair came to me and asked about the location of Subbaya Sreshti's shop. I told him that I was Subbaya Sreshti and the shop where we met was actually mine. Then he said, Sir, I want a copper vessel urgently, no matter even if the price is high. If you kindly give me the copper vessel immediately, I will go away taking it. I had 32 copper vessels, but I told him that I had only one copper vessel and that I would part with it if he could give 10 varahas. He readily agreed, but he imposed one condition. Shri Sripada, in the lap of Painda Venkatappaya Sreshti, should give the copper vessel with his own hands. Sripada agreed to that. The ascetic received the copper vessel from the hands of Shri Sripada. Sripada was laughing. The ascetic wearing matted locks was also laughing. Shri Sripada told the ascetic, Your wish is satisfied. Goddess Lakshmi will stay in your house undistributed. You give up this ascetic order and return to your home. Your wife and children are waiting for you. The sannyasi with the matted hair was full of happiness and left. I had a wish to put Painda Venkatappaya Sreshti and Appala Raja Sharma to shame. My desire was fulfilled on that day. Proudly I said, Today, with the sale of a copper vessel, I got plenty of money. I am of the view that the debt of 10 varahas which Appala Raja Sharma owed to me is repaid. Therefore, from this moment, Sripada is released from bondage. However, Shri Painda Venkatappaya Sreshti wanted that the statement should be made by swearing on Goddess Gayatri as witness. As an unfortunate fellow, I swore like that. My boy, Shankara Bhatta, even if a small piece of copper is received from Avadhutas and Siddhapurushas as a token of their grace, the receiver would derive abundant wealth. What a great fortunate one was that ascetic! He received from Sripada, the new incarnation of Datta, a copper vessel in a gracious way. I was an extremely unfortunate one. From that moment, the spark of Goddess Lakshmi glowing internally in my body, mind, and soul started diminishing. The sportive plays of Sripada are unimaginable and unthinkable. Every word uttered in his presence would come true. When I had 32 copper vessels, I lied that I was having only one. Sripada turned my lie into a truth. When I checked my shop after the departure of Sri Painda Venkatappaya Sreshti and Sri Sripada, I found only one copper vessel instead of 31. I showed false accounts that I should get 10 varahas. By this sportive play, Sripada removed some misgivings of Appalaraja Sharma. Dawn and dusk are very sacred times. Worship of fire in the early morning Sandhya and in the evening Sandhya yields admirable results. In the early dawn, all the energies of Sun God are ready to prevail. During dusk, all the energies of Sun God retreat and join him. Then I said, Sir, I heard before that by accepting donation, the merit of punya would dwindle. But I heard only from you that non-acceptance of donation would result in sin. I could not understand this matter. Not only that, while telling that Sripada is an incarnation of Sri Dattatreya, it is also told differently that he is an incarnation of Narasimha and Shiva. I do not understand how the nature of Anasuya exists internally in Shiva. Kindly explain in detail. Then Subbayya Sreshti said, You are hungry. Srivallabha often instructs his disciples to give good water for drinking, good food for eating to anyone who comes to your house seeking food without considering the differences of race and caste. You take meals first. There is a water tank nearby. Please come after cleansing yourself. In the meanwhile, I will bring 2 plantain leaves from the plantain trees seen yonder. Green cucumber with dal is the curry in the meals. It will be very tasty like sweet elixir. I was astonished. There was nothing in the basket except the copper vessel. There were no foodstuff, fruits, or vegetable roots. Above all, he is saying that preparation of cucumber dal would be available as a side dish in the meals. I thought that I would go to the tank and come back after washing my hands and feet without having regard for anything. Subbaya Sreshti went towards the plantain trees. After washing myself, I came back from the tank. Subbaya Sreshti brought 2 plantain leaves. He collected leaves from the nearby palm trees and made small cups from them. I was seeing this strange happening with wonder. He closed his eyes and meditated for a while. After that, he poured water into the 2 leafy cups from the copper vessel with him. Flow of water from that empty copper vessel was a wonder. From that vessel, he served the curry. Then he served food. Both of us had that sumptuous and very tasty food as a prasad. The copper vessel remained empty as before as we finished our meals. The fruits of worship of Lord Shiva during the evening Sandhya, the twilight time. Sripada, an embodiment of all deities. Saturn is a karmakara, one who is responsible for the action. Among the planets, Rahu and Ketu are shadow planets. Rahu gives results like Saturn. Ketu gives results like Mars. Saturn, who is karmakara, is the son of Sun, a witness of all karmas. Therefore, evening dusk of Saturday is very powerful. Chaturthi Trayodashi are strong tithis, the lunar days for Rahu. Hence, an individual who worships Shiva during the great sacred time of Shani Trayodashi, during the evening Sandhya, would be freed completely from the results of all the heinous sins committed in previous lives. Sri Sripada, incarnated in the star Chitta, presided over by the planet Mars. Therefore, if Sripada is worshipped during the time of the Chitta star, all afflictions of planets would abate. Planet Mars is the cause for wars, accidents, untimely deaths from weapons and missiles, leading a life with misery and indebtedness. Runa, that is debt, means sin, and Aruna means that which is sinless. During the time of Chitta star or on Tuesday, Sri Sripada shines with crimson color. He would remain actually in the form of Arunachaleshwara on that day. Hence, worshipping Sripada Srivallabha, particularly on that Tuesday with Chitta star, is very, very auspicious. Painda Venkatappaya Sreshti, Narasimhavarma, and Bapanaarya used to participate in the worship of Shiva during Saturday evening. Appala Raja Sharma also used to observe very strict spiritual discipline on that day. Akhanda Lakshmi Saubhagyavati Sumati Maharani was meditating upon the great aspect of Anasuya, which was indwelling in the form of Shiva. As a result of these great penances, the advent of Sripada took place. Sri Sripada wanted to teach his father silently that on the account of the above circumstances, it cannot be construed as a donation of any amount received from Sri Painda Venkatappaya Sreshti, Sri Narasimhavarma and Sri Bapanaarya. He wanted to make it clear that on the other hand, it was a great sin not to accept money from them. Shankara Bhatta, Sri Sripada is an embodiment of all deities. His nature is a magnificent one which transcends all the form of deities. Those who saw, touched and conversed with him are indeed fortunate. Subbaya Sreshti began to narrate. The news that Sripada redeemed his father from debt through this novel method spread like wildfire in Pithikapuram. Sripada was a lad of 3 years. Tears flowed from the eyes of Appala Raja Sharma incessantly. Sumati Maharani hugged her darling son to her bosom and remained for a very long time in a state of trance. Painda Venkatappaya Sreshti, Narasimhavarma and Sri Bapanaarya came to the house of Raja Sharma. Sripada stated that it is the duty of a son to free his father from indebtedness. I was also invited to visit the house of Sri Raja Sharma. I announced in the presence of all elders who assembled there that the debt of Sri Raja Sharma was fully cleared. Raja Sharma did not agree to that. Raja Sharma questioned how his debt was repaid when some ascetic came and purchased a copper vessel by paying 10 varahas. Then an interesting discussion took place. Sri Bapanaarya questioned Sripada, "Do you know that ascetic with matted hair?" Then Sripada replied, "Not only that ascetic, I know about all the ascetics." The nature of Sripada. Bapanaarya, you are a boy of 3 years. You are uttering words that are much beyond your age. Are you omniscient? Sripada, you all are thinking that my age is 3 years. But I do not think so. My age is many lakhs of years. I was in existence prior to this creation. I would continue even after the great pralaya, final destruction of the world. I would be there during the activities of creation. Creation, sustenance, and liquidation would not take place without me. I observe all these as a witness. Bapanaarya. Sripada, simply if a small child imagines that he is in moon, it does not mean he actually is in moon. One must have direct experience. Omniscience, omnipotence, and omnipresence are the attributes of Lord of the universe only. Sripada. I am the primordial nature that steadily exists at all times and at all places. My existence reveals itself in accordance with those particular requirements. It does not imply that I am not in existence at a particular place merely because I did not reveal myself. I stay in the Annamaya, Pranamaya, Manomaya, Vijnanamaya and Anandamaya koshas, the sheets of food, life, mind, wisdom and bliss in the body. They carry on their functions only because of my presence. If I give you an experience that I dwell in a particular sheath, you will feel that I am in that kosha. However, it does not mean that I do not reside in those koshas simply because I do not give you an experience there. I pervade at all times and at all places. All kinds of knowledge and wisdom are at my footrest. All this creation formed at the mere will of mine. What is there to wonder if I am omnipotent? Appalaraja Sharma. My dear, you are an enigma for us since your childhood. You are repeatedly saying that you are Lord Datta. You are also declaring again and again that you would come in another incarnation under the name Narasimha Saraswati. People are like crows. They are commenting in various ways, terming your actions as histrionics, mentally imbalanced idiocy, and guileful tricks. We are Brahmins. It is better that we observe the righteous acts prescribed for us. Going beyond that, if we proclaim that we are incarnations and divine personages, it would be considered as rank arrogance. Sripada. Father, I do not deny what you say. I must speak truth only, is it not? When the matter of my milk debt came up, I felt entertained. If I aver that I am not Lord Datta at the time the 5 elements testified, am I not guilty of speaking untruth? If one, on seeing sun shining in the sky, tells that he is not sun, will sun become someone else? Truth is conditioned by space and time. The Brahmins of Pitikapuram are experiencing human nature, feeling that they are living bodies and individuals. In the same manner, I am reminding you again and again that I am Datta, having the nature of omniscience, omnipresence, and omnipotence. Eons may pass on. Many worlds may undergo creation, sustenance, and annihilation. But how is it that I am, who is Datta himself, cannot be Datta? Bapanaarya. Sripada, after the departure of the ascetic, only 1 copper vessel remained instead of 31. Have you played any trick and caused them to disappear? Sripada. Everything will happen due to some cause cropping up from time and fate. There is no possibility for any action to take place without a cause. This is a law in nature which cannot be violated. This Subbayya Sreshti was a priest of Datta in a forest region during his previous life. People rarely visit Lord Datta in the forest regions. His lust for women took a mad turn. This person, who became infatuated with the desire for women, wanted to sell away the big copper statue of Lord Datta worshipped by his ancestors from ancient times. He gave the money received from the same to his concubine. He told people that thieves stole the Datta image. The ascetic who came here was a goldsmith entangled in worldly affairs. In his previous birth as a goldsmith, out of greed for money, he melted the statue of Datta. He is born in this life as a very poor man. As the priest served the image of Datta for many years, he is born in this life in a wealthy family on the account of that merit. The statue of Datta, which was melted in their previous lives, was made into 32 copper vessels and sold out. The goldsmith was worshipping Lord Narasimha. He made these copper vessels in the presence of Lord Narasimha. Therefore, on account of the will of God, the essential attributes of 32 incarnations of Lord Narasimha entered into the copper vessels. The goldsmith, who had knowledge of his previous birth, worshipped me with undivided devotion. He prayed sincerely for the removal of his poverty. I appeared in his dream and asked him to come over to Petikapuram. I asked him to receive a copper vessel from my hands, and for that he should pay 10 varahas to Sreshti and thereby free me from bondage. He did like that and became fortunate. I blessed that his financial problems may be solved in an unimaginable manner. He was moving in the guise of an ascetic to avoid trouble from those who lent him money. Thus, it must be clear that I know everything about that ascetic. This Subbaya Sreshti wanted to collect irregularly 10 varahas from our family. I arranged 10 varahas to him, but to compensate it, I withdrew all the punya earned by him in his earlier life. You, Subbaya Sreshti, I know your amorous affairs with Chintamani and all your vulgar and indecent acts. Your story will remain as a comedy in human history. You will live selling eatables carrying in a small wooden basket. You sell them to small children like me. My parents arranged meals to the relatives with the money received from you. I know better than you about the banya calculations. The money given by you was sufficient just to cook food, dal and cucumber. The hard-earned money of my father was enough to procure other materials. When you meet with a miserable state, when you cannot even get food, only water, rice, dal and cucumber would be supplied from the copper vessel with you. Only that much food and stuffs sufficient for you to eat and to serve any other would be available. Sripada spoke very strongly. The countenance of Sri Sripada was formidable with divine brilliance. His eyes looked like 2 globes of fire. Then he said again, You Subbaya Sreshti, a buffalo would come to the southern gate of your house this night. That is a message sent by Yamadharma Raja that your death is very near. But I am showing you mercy. You feed that buffalo with rice, dal and cucumber cooked with your own hands. That buffalo has only that wish. After eating, the buffalo would die instead of you. From that moment, you would receive intimation after intimation that you are becoming terribly impoverished. You take the basket and follow my instructions. When you come across a situation where you do not even get rice, this copper vessel helps you. I show you mercy. Sripada spoke with a stern voice. Then Painda Venkatappaya Sreshti was frightened on seeing angry Sripada. Then Sripada said, Grandfather, are you afraid? I am actually Narasimhamurti. Let there be no doubt. My nature is that of Sripada and Srivallabha. You are thinking that I will curse the Vaishya caste. Are you agitated that I will curse all Vaishyas to become poor? Just as Mother Vasavi cursed all her caste Vaishyas to have less beauty? Don't fear. God has no difference of caste and kind. In the same way, a devotee has no difference of caste and race. My relationship with Arya Vaishyas is very old. Is not Bapanaarya Labha the Maharshi of old ages? I am granting you a boon. Even when the lineage of Labha the Maharshi in Vaishyas gets extinct, I am blessing the family of Bapanaarya till the end of Kali Yuga. I am giving a different kind of basket. The basket is full of datta sweetmeats. Even when you give those liberally, the stock of sweets will not diminish. This will not be visible to the naked eye. As all the 32 attributes of Narasimha are in me only, mine is the 33rd incarnation. Therefore, during the 33rd generation of your family, during the 33rd generation of Shri Bapanaarya's family, and during the 33rd generation of Shri Vatsavai Narasimha's family, my Padukas would be installed exactly at the place of my birth in the house of Shri Bapanaarya where I was born. This is my assurance to the families of Vatsavai, Malladi and Shri Painda Venkatappaya Sreshti. If anybody of your families adore the divine magnificent form of Sripada Srivallabha in any method of the traditional ninefold devotion, the dogs of Lord Datta would stand as sentinels to them in an invisible form. Vedas, Puranas, Upanishads, in invisible forms and as invisible hounds, constantly protect them. Then Painda Venkatappaya Sreshti hugged Sri Sripada to his bosom. Tears of joy were showering from their eyes. Shri Bapanaarya was dumbfounded. Mother Sumati fell into doubt whether it was a dream or a divine illusion. Appalaraja Sharma's mind became mute. The two brothers of Sripada were looking at Sripada with awe. They were thinking whether he was their brother or Lord Datta. They wondered at the strange event. There was no limit to my stupidity, habit of ridiculing others. So I said, Sripada, those profiling powers became wives when they assumed human form. What else was it if it was not infatuation for women? It was a divine play in the case of incarnations, but in our case, it is infatuation for women. What a partiality! Sripada spoke thus. Shri Krishna had 8 wives and 16,000 gopikas. Still, he was a regular bachelor. He is not a womanizer as you think. It was not at all bodily relationship. They were all wives in the relationship of soul. The soul that was supported was wife, and the soul that was supporting it was husband. What was there more than that? When Devendra was cursed to take human form, Shachi Devi was born as Draupadi. Devendra assumed 5 forms and was born as 5 Pandavas. Even though Draupadi was having 5 husbands, she enjoyed conjugal comfort only with Arjuna. Dharma is different and the nicety of dharma is entirely different. Mother Kunti had no habit of going back on her word. Draupadi chose Arjuna only. Only Arjuna hit the fish in the contest. A virtuous wife should have 6 attributes. Her figure should resemble Lakshmi. Draupadi was having abundant graciousness. She must have the patience of Mother Earth. Sahadeva knew all the events that were to take place in the future. He knew that the battle between Kauravas and Pandavas had to be fought. But before that great event, many incidents had to occur. There were sorrowful incidents also among them. He was extremely vexed whenever he thought about them. Therefore, Draupadi was conducting herself with a lot of patience when dealing with Sahadeva. Bhima was a glutton. As he was consuming enormous quantities of food, he became very much indolent. Therefore, he was lazy even to do his own work. So, Draupadi was behaving like a servant in her conduct with Bhima. Dharmaraja was eldest among the Pandavas. Many political problems used to trouble his mind. So, Draupadi was acting like a minister and was offering good advice. Nakula was an expert swordsman who was fighting with utmost speed. He was wielding the sword between two raindrops with such dexterity that it did not get wet in spite of the rain. Because of the strenuous practice connected with keen skill in martial arts, he was becoming extremely hungry. Draupadi used to prepare tasty food items and serve them to him. The preparations were giving satisfaction to his mind and were suited for his practice of battlecraft. Just as a mother would understand the preferences of her child and serve eatable victuals without his asking, Draupadi used to deal with Nakula. She was keeping Arjuna happy in providing conjugal bliss. In that, she was excelling Rambha in the art of sexual pleasure. Though she was having 5 husbands, she gave the comfort of bed only to Arjuna without breaking dharma. Subbaya Sreshti, your concubine Chintamani did not give sexual pleasure only to you. Bilvamangala and many others enjoyed her body. When you visit Panakala Narasimha Swami in Mangalagiri of Guntur region, you will come across Chintamani and Bilvamangala there due to the causes of time and fate. You will bring them to Pithikapuram. Then I will preach you all about righteousness. Then Shri Narasimha Varma took Sripada into his lap. Sripada said to Shri Varma, Grandpa, tomorrow we will go in your horse carriage and visit our farmlands. Mother Earth there was praying to me eagerly from many days. Lord Sripada, will you not make me holy with the touch of your feet? You are having title as Arthatrana Parayana, the savior of suffering humanity, is it not? Then Shri Varma said, My child, Sripada, I have a small request. We are having our lands near Shri Pithikapuram. I want to form a village there and have the fields cultivated by those villagers. I want to give those lands to those villagers for a lower rate of lease. My opinion is to appoint you as the Karanam, the village officer, to supervise the affairs of that estate. We are not having the post of Karanam of Ainavilli now, is it not? Sripada laughingly said, Grandfather, you thought about your zamindari, but you did not think about my zamindari. This is not acceptable to me. First, you will ask me to work as that village official. In such a case, the history will record only that Ghandikota Sripada Srivallabha Raja Sharma was a mere Karanam of a particular village. But my officialdom will extend over the whole universe. I got my own accounts. Every day, crores of heaps of punya, diamonds and ornaments are expended. The purpose of my incarnation is to move the kundalini of the universe. Villages, towns and holy places also have kundalinis in the same way as individuals. This is the secret of yoga which can be understood only by those who knew the Sandra Sindhu Veda. The Kundalini of Pithikapura can be shaken only in the 33rd generation of Bapanaarya, Painda Venkatappaya Sreshti and Vatsavai families. Why hurry now? You make the best use of every moment of this great sacred opportunity that is fortunately available to you. My dear Shankara Bhatta, Shri Narasimha Varma tried to keep Shri Sripada in Pithikapuram permanently in this way. The glory of Sripada. Ignorance of a high degree was in me. As Sripada declared that he was verily Sri Krishna himself, I questioned out of ignorance in a jeering tone. Sripada, you are saying that you are Krishna. Then are you having 8 wives and 16,000 gopikas in this incarnation also? Then Sripada said with a smile, my 8-fold nature represent 8 wives. My incarnation is one with 16 comprehensive potencies. Every minute, powerful vibrations emanate in all 10 directions from this divine supreme soul called Sripada Srivallabha incarnation from my body and mind. In this manner, each minute for each potency from body, mind and Atma natures, that is 10 multiplied by 10 multiplied by 10, that is equal to 1000 vibrations get released. Like this, from 16 potencies, 16,000 pulsations emanate. All these are my 16,000 gopikas. In the previous incarnation, all of them took human form. In this incarnation, they remain formless, but dynamic and vibrating. There is nothing wrong even if my various forms of divinity are worshipped. It amounts to worshipping me. One can adore my Shiva form, Vishnu form or Brahma form. Likewise, one can worship the different forms of God within me. On the evolution of life, several kinds of spiritual practices, the different stages of progress by spiritual seekers, causes of time and action show influence. Sripada explained thus. Narasimhavarma had a vision of 32 forms of Narasimha. They were Kundapada Narasimhamurti, Kopa Narasimhamurti, Divya Narasimhamurti, Brahmanda Narasimhamurti, Samudra Narasimhamurti, Vishwarupa Narasimhamurti, Veera Narasimhamurti, Krura Narasimhamurti, Bhibhatsa Narasimhamurti, Raudra Narasimhamurti, Dhumra Narasimhamurti, Vanhi Narasimhamurti, Vyaghra Narasimhamurti, Bidala Narasimhamurti, Bhima Narasimhamurti, Patala Narasimhamurti, Akasha Narasimhamurti, Vakra Narasimhamurti, Chakra Narasimhamurti, Shankha Narasimhamurti, Sattva Narasimhamurti, Adbhuta Narasimhamurti, Vega Narasimhamurti, Vidarana Narasimhamurti, Yogananda Narasimhamurti, Lakshmi Narasimhamurti, Bhadra Narasimhamurti, Raja Narasimhamurti, Vallabha Narasimhamurti. Later, he saw Sripada Srivallabha as the 30th Narasimhamurti, incarnation of Shri Narasimha Saraswati as the 31st Narasimhamurti, and Swami Samartha living in Shri Pragnapura as the 32nd Narasimhamurti. The story of Srinivasa. My dear one, tomorrow is a very sacred day. It is the month of Kanya and the star is Shravanam. On Monday during Dwadashi in Siddha Yoga, Shri Venkateshwara emerged as an adorable form. In the year Vilambi, during Vaishakha Shuddha Saptami, he obtained monetary assistance from Kubera and executed a loan instrument. Shri Padmavati Devi was born in Mrigashira star and Srinivasa was born in Shravana star. The marriage of Srinivasa took place in the month of Vaishakha on Shuddha Dashami day in Uttara Phalguni star. Lord Srinivasa also incarnated in the lineage of Bharadwaja. Akasha Maharaj was born to a snake nymph to Sudhanva of the Pandava family. Tondaman was his brother. Vasudhanu was also a son of Akasharaj. On the advice of sage Agastya, Lord Srinivasa divided the kingdom equally to Vasudhanu and Tondaman. Subbayya Sreshti said to Shankara Bhatta, "Today you take rest. We will chant the divine name of Sripada Srivallabha all throughout the night. Tomorrow is a very sacred day according to the science of astrology. I will narrate the extremely amazing sportive plays of Sripada tomorrow. I will explain how Chintamani and Bilvamangala were brought to Pithikapuram, how Sri Guru showed them mercy, how a village was built as a mark of the strange plays exhibited by Sripada in the fields of Sri Narasimhavarma, how that village became famous by the name Chitrada. I will also explain in detail about the strange peculiar things to happen in future times and about the sportive plays of Sripada before his final incarnation as Kalki." Having said that, he took me to a cottage nearby. There were 2 mats made of leaves of date tree. 4 dogs of high breed were standing guard to the cottage. The fruits of meditation of Sripada. The divine plays of Sripada are not accomplished by others. They are appealing to the heart in a very happy manner. By simply remembering him, heaps of sins amassed from many births will be burnt into ashes. Victory, victory to Sripada Srivallabha. Here ends the 10th chapter of Sripada Srivallabha Charitamrutam.
Kelisade yenna more karunalu guruve. Kelisade yenna more karunalu guruve. Balalidenu nee sigade baro ennedege. Balalidenu nee sigade baro ennedege. Kelisade yenna more karunalu guruve. ಈತನುವ ಮೋಹದಲ್ಲಿ ಅಜ್ಞಾನಿಯಾದೆ. ಈತನುವ ಮೋಹದಲ್ಲಿ ಅಜ್ಞಾನಿಯಾದೆ. ಗತಿ ಬೇರೆ ಕಾಣದೆ ನಿನ್ನ ಕರೆದೆ. ಗತಿ ಬೇರೆ ಕಾಣದೆ ನಿನ್ನ ಕರೆದೆ. ಕೇಳಿಸದೆ ಎನ್ನ ಮೋರೆ ಕರುಣಾಳು ಗುರುವೇ. ಇಡುವೆ ನಿನ್ನಡಿ ಶಿರವ ಪಿಡಿಯೋ ಎನ್ನಯ ಕರವ. ಇಡುವೆ ನಿನ್ನಡಿ ಶಿರವ ಪಿಡಿಯೋ ಎನ್ನಯ ಕರವ. ಬಿಡೆನು ನಿನ್ನಯ ಪದವ ನೀಡೋ ವರವ. ಬಿಡೆನು ನಿನ್ನಯ ಪದವ ನೀಡೋ ವರವ. ಕೇಳಿಸದೆ ಎನ್ನ ಮೋರೆ ಕರುಣಾಳು ಗುರುವೇ. ಭವದ ಶರಧಿಯೊಳೆನ್ನ ಮುಳುಗಿಸದೆ ನೀ ಪೊರೆಯೋ. ಭವದ ಶರಧಿಯೊಳೆನ್ನ ಮುಳುಗಿಸದೆ ನೀ ಪೊರೆಯೋ. ಶ್ರೀಧರ ನಿನ್ನೆಡೆಗೆ ಎನ್ನ ಸೆಳೆಯೋ. ಶ್ರೀಧರ ನಿನ್ನೆಡೆಗೆ ಎನ್ನ ಸೆಳೆಯೋ. ಕೇಳಿಸದೆ ಎನ್ನ ಮೋರೆ ಕರುಣಾಳು ಶ್ರೀಧರಾರ್ಯ ಬಾರದೆ ನಿನಗೆ ದಯಾ ಶ್ರೀಧರಾರ್ಯ ಕೇಳಿಸದೆ ಎನ್ನ ಮೊರೆ ಕರುಣಾಳು ಗುರುವೇ ನೆಲೆಸು ಹೃದಯದಿ ದತ್ತ ಶ್ರೀಧರ ಗುರುದಾಸ ನೆಲೆಸು ಹೃದಯದಿ ದತ್ತ ಶ್ರೀಧರ ಗುರುದಾಸ ನೀಡು ಸುಜ್ಞಾನಯತಿ ರಾಮದಾಸ ನೀಡು ಸುಜ್ಞಾನಯತಿ ರಾಮ